To Garcia, off the deflection, as Fresno comes back and wins. Now Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria!
Here's Warner, here comes a headed jam, counted for two. Field, adios, and the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game.
Left, that is gone!
For Perez, that's my play, off the backboard, counted, and a win!
And a win! Ryan Perez wins the game for the Santa Rosa Warriors, and they go!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another broadcast on our show, Talkin Sports, here at Fruia Motors. Kevin Aro, Joe Bowling, Ruben Rodriguez here. To my right, an all-black showcase signifying the end of football season in the Rio Grande Valley. The good news is you can wake up. It's the first of the month. Anybody gets that Bone Thugs and Harmony reference right there. December 1st is here. Basketball season, full swing. We're going to start by recapping the football season that was. And just like it always is, most times, often than not, done in the third round. We had Edinburgh Vela, McCallum Memorial, PSJ North, the last three teams standing in the RGV.
And it was kind of like a normal year in which you have a couple of teams that are there in the third round and then a team that you're hanging your hat on that, hey, they got a chance if everything goes right. It's why in the Rio Grande Valley it's so special when you're talking about teams that are playing in the fourth round, and even rarer is the days that you're talking about a team in the fifth round. But in this case, three teams traveled, three teams came home. Three teams all talking about next year, just like everyone else in the Rio Grande Valley. Congratulations to the teams that won. There are some teams still left in the Coastal Bend, but from the RGV, signed, sealed, delivered. Week 3, it's all over.
Yeah, it is. And you know, when you saw the matchups with PSJ North against Austin Westlake, they got 7 guys going D1 on offense alone, quarterbacks going to Clemson. It's like, whew. I just told my buddies over there, like, just I'm praying that the boys can come back healthy, which they did. It was 21-0 for a long time. I did watch most of that broadcast, but then eventually the size, the speed, everything catches up, and you know, it wound up being, what was that, 50? Where's the score? Who had the score over there? 56-0 there with Westlake and PSJ North. But you know, the good thing for PSJ North is that a good point that Coach Esparza preached to his defense and to his kids, and then another thing that Coach Koppman preached was that we'll get to it later, but eventually that PSJ North is projected to go down into 5A. And these last few years in D1 and D2, Joe, you know, Region 4 has been very winnable. We saw Pioneer go 4 deep last year. They could have done it the year before. They lost to Burning in the third round, but keep tabs on this PSJ North team, because in these next couple of years, the fact that they're going to be in 5A, they can have a legit shot of going 3, maybe 4 deep. My point being is that the team that PSJ North just played, Westlake, will probably be the best team they'll ever face for the next 2-3 years.
Right. Corpus Christi Veterans obviously is top-notch. They're a winner they advanced on, so you'll always have to circle them in the 5A ranks as far as when you get to round 3. Are you good enough to throw yourself against something like that? Mm-hmm. But again, it's nothing like throwing yourself against an Austin Westlake team comprised of the personnel that they had for this playoff game, because this is one of those teams that we've talked about over the years. When you get to some of these third-round games, you see players that are going to be playing at the least on Saturdays and potentially playing, still playing 8 to 10 years after this high school stuff is over.
Yeah, maybe on some Sundays. You know, we've seen that a few times. No shame in that. Yep. But that's the prime story there for PSJ North. They did what they were supposed to do. They righted the wrong from last year by getting that second round playoff win in good fashion. You know, Jack Lugo wrapped up a tremendous career. Isaac Gonzalez, 5,000 career yard rusher, led the Valley in rushing again. Heck of a kid. So tip of the hat to them. But, hey, they're going to have Ale back next year. They're going to have Julius back. So they got plenty of pieces back. Looking forward to maybe going into 5A next year, which is the projected deal for PSJ North. Edinburgh Vela had the option, but they've opted to stay in 6A, which that 31-6A will be, we'll talk about it later with the realignment, but we'll go on.
Have a 4-hour show. We'll talk about the what ifs, the realignment. We are going to touch base on it before this show's over. But, yeah, you're right. They did what they needed to do this year. some people may have said they overachieve. I don't think so. I
No.
don't think you think so either.
No.
They did what they were projected to do, and just happened to run into just one of those powerhouse teams. But next year, circle them already. PSJA North, you better be really good if you're going to go up there thinking you're going to beat them next year.
Yeah, and then about Edinburgh Vela is that they won't be in the same district next year if PSG North goes down to 5A. If Edinburgh Vela will stay in 6A at 31-6A. Of three, I thought Vela, well, maybe they got a shot. I gave them a puncher's chance, which is very rare. If you know me, that's very rare for me to say in this third round because they played Vandergrift before back when they were in 5A. 38-14, mind you, 14 points, like you said, were in the second half with their backup quarterback. But the question is going to be, again, who's going to take on that role at quarterback? Who's going to fill PJ Rivera's spot? Who's going to fill Ted Galvan, Justin Cantu at wide receiver, Justin Vega at wide receiver. But it seems like every year I say that, Vela finds ways to just, as Ron Adame would say, they don't reload, but they retool.
Yeah.
The
thing about Vela is, again, each year you're talking about who's going to replace this and this. On a lot of teams, you're talking about who's going to replace one or two, maybe a third player. On Vela, you're talking about 5 or 6 players, but it's every year, meaning that every year there's waiting in the ranks. They're 5 deep on skill positions, and so it is next man up. You know what it's all about. You know the role you're going to fill. You know the shoes you're going to fill, and they do it each and every year. Now, against Vandergrift, going into that game, I just couldn't get off the focus of how bad they beat Cibolo Steel in week 2. And so I never let that go. I've seen Cibolo Steel teams come into the Rio Grande Valley, and I said it off the air. Well, there's Cibolo Steel teams that come down to the valley and beat them 70-0, and there's other ones that beat them 40-0. Was that a 40-0 Steel team that Vandergrift beat? I didn't know, but I did know that you don't shut them out with the score they did and not draw the attention of, Vela's got tools, they've got weapons, they've got what I call the recipe to win a round 3 game going in, and that was you had a defense that was capable of shutting down some of the big playmakers. You got an offense that at times can be that lightning type offense that can score points because you need both when you get to that round 3 game and you're coming out of the Rio Grande Valley. You need to be able to have a defense that can go back to 7-on-7 mentality, get me 2 stops in the first half, keep me in contention, let me have an offense that can make some plays. They had the recipe, so you're right. Puncher's chance, yes. Vandergrift turns out was as good as Build, if not better. And so it took down what we thought was the best team in the Rio Grande Valley, Edinburgh Valley.
They were. Definitively they were. And to my point, and I text Coach David Gilpin, they went too deep. Man, they lost a tough one against Marble Falls. But I said, Coach, you made me look like a genius. Because I went on this show a couple weeks ago, and I said, yes, I know Mercedes was the top sub-team in 5A. But I said, keep an eye on Mission Vets. I was like, they're the hottest team. By golly, they went out and won a playoff game. They were in that game with Marble Falls. But, but going back to Edinburgh Vela, the point being is that, they're going to have a shot next year because they're going to have arguably the best player defensively in the Valley with Jake Duffner. The kid is just a junior this year, and he's coming back next year. And I think when you have a kid like that who's as dominant as he is at his position, you're going to have a shot.
Yeah, and again, if you haven't bought in already, you need to buy in. As a football fan in the Rio Grande Valley, if you want to have a shot to make a deep playoff run, you had better circle a couple of big-time defenders and an anchor around a defense and then cultivate an offense. But if you've got the best defender in the Rio Grande Valley coming in, well, there's the first piece that you need. That's a good foundation. Right. So, yes, Edinburgh Vela, they may be in a totally different-looking district. We know they are going to be. Doesn't mean it's going to be a different-looking Vela team. They're going to be anchored by that, and that's a good place to start.
To be the man, you got to beat the man, and I actually got to see their 8th grade team earlier this year. And
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, I'm like, 8th graders shouldn't be doing that, like making cuts, making reads, RPOs. I'm like, okay, they're really good, so they're just going to continue to funnel in. CC veterans, they took out McCallum Memorial, and, I might get some heat for it, but they were a surprise team for me this year, McCallum Memorial. Not that much of a new system, but Moses Patterson came in on an intern basis. Kudos to him, filling the shoes for Coach Littleton and going 3 deep, winning district, and really just getting McCallum Memorial back to what they know and love to do. And, I mean, CC Veterans was in the region final last year. Don't kid yourself. They lost to Cedar Park, and they got a date with the Bluff, Flower Bluff this week.
Yep.
So.
Well, the thing about McAllen Memorial is that going into the season, a lot of people were questioning how good is Rowe. Rowe looked on paper like a pretty good team coming out of the McAllen area. Were they the best team in McAllen? McAllen Memorial was kind of thrown in a hat with McAllen that, well, if they do the things right, they might contend, they might play, but to make a round 3 playoff appearance, I don't think many prognosticated that McAllen Memorial was going to be the team that was there, but yet they did.
Yeah.
And they too are going to build off of that in a much different looking district next year.
Yeah.
But they too are going to build off of it.
Yeah, and a little nugget, speaking of projections, Memorial and Rowe should stick in 5A. Mac High would then go to 6A, and they would join 30 to 6A.
Yeah.
And again, we'll talk about it more. I want to talk about it. We won't ever shut up about it. But
We can talk from now till February.
yeah, but I mean, no, kudos to McAllen Memorial and CC Veterans, a team that, you lose, in my opinion, the best quarterback last year in the Coastal Bend and in the region in Carter Centerfit. New head coach. And to get back to this point, Flower Bluff just barely beat Gregory Portland on a field goal, on a walk-off field goal. So Coastal Bend peeps, I'm sure they're pretty fired up. You're going to have the Corpus Christi Veterans and Flower Bluff in that 4th round.
It's the matchup that everyone was talking about that, hey, we would like to see that Flower Bluff and Corpus Christi Veterans. The question was they were going to have to figure out where they were going to play because both were dead set. If we play, then we're flipping. It's going to be home and home. We're not going to a neutral site. There's no sense in going to a neutral site in Corpus Christi. Everyone considers neutral sites to be Cabinets or Buccaneer.
Yeah.
Veterans like, we're okay with either one of those. So Flower Bluff went in saying, well, let's just flip the dice and we'll roll them one way or the other. We're either going to your place or ours. Either way, it's going to be a sold-out stadium. It's going to be a big-time game, and somebody's going to the regional finals out of that winner.
Before we wrap up the football season, before I step aside, these guys, they got plenty of basketball. We got a couple of basketball coaches here. They're going to join us in just a bit.
He's done a lot of hard work getting ready for it.
He really has. Looking back at this football season, I really enjoyed it. Not that I don't enjoy it every year, but, last year was just so COVID, and guys didn't have off seasons. Guys didn't have two-a-days, and we saw that throughout the year, and football really took a step back last year. But kudos to our coaches, to our athletes that made football great again, right? And there was this year where it was just awesome how everyone just found that rhythm again. Because last year, there was no definitive number 1 team, I felt. This year, we knew Vela was the top dog in 6A. We knew Mercedes was the top dog in 5A. Port Isabel, La Feria in 4A, Lyford in 3A. So everything kind of got back to normal, thank goodness, this year for football. And I had a blast. I know, next year PI is going to be legit. They're going to have a lot of pieces back, a lot of confidence. This realignment is really going to shake things up with teams like PSJ North, Harlingen South. Finally is going to move down to 5A. At least that's what the latest Padilla poll will show us, because for the last, I don't know how many realignments, they've had the lowest enrollment in 32 6A. So I'll be off on a tangent real quick. For Harlingen South has done in the past athletically, and with athletic program, is very impressive, considering that they're the lowest enrollment in 32 6A, which is arguably the hardest district across the board. So, we're gonna get a lot of changes there in 5A. The 6As, oh boy, they're gonna shake up dramatically in 32 and 31 6A. Expect some teams from Laredo to come down to the valley. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited, and we're going to count down the days till Midnight Madness with St. Joe, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's where it all began. But again, to put a wrap on this season from the RGV perspective of the teams we got to watch, got to cover, who would have thought we would have been playing for a state championship? I don't care what level it is.
Oh.
We had a team playing for a state championship this year.
Right.
And
right.
You don't say that very often. I know I haven't in the 10-plus years that I've been around the Rio Grande Valley, but
Yeah.
yet we said it this year.
Yeah.
Kudos to MMA who came out of the woodwork and said, hey, what about us? What about us and the division we're playing in? We're going to take it to the final game, and they did.
Yeah, Coach Morton. I mean, the name speaks for itself, and old Bobby Lucio, and those boys. They deserved a little something. Those guys are serving our country, guys that will be serving our country. So for them to have that experience and play for a state championship, just that mystique alone was amazing.
Hoorah. We'll take a break.
Hoorah.
We'll be back. We'll talk a little bit more. Ruben will chime in a little bit. We'll wrap up football, and then we'll head into basketball. A lot to talk about, a lot of games to cover, and a lot have already been played. But, the matchups that are coming up starting tomorrow. We'll talk about that and more.
We're a world-class Cadillac, Buick, and GMC dealership, and we're in your neighborhood. Come by and check us out. We're waiting for you.
If you want to get in the game, come to Myra Sports and more. Basketball gloves and uniforms too, customized for you. Your family tradition, from generation to generation. From Pee Wee to the MLBs, you can count on us. Your hometown sporting goods store since '76. Myra Sports and more, where kids get cool stuff.
The Brownsville Independent School District continues to provide a safe environment for enriching education. From pre-K-3 to early college high school, the award-winning district has advanced its legacy in curriculum, athletics, and fine arts. Teachers are driving the frontier of technology, bringing industry to the classroom. On and off the field, Brownsville ISD students engage in the experiences that make them college and career ready. Brownsville Independent School District, the best choice.
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
And he throws it down. Back here at Luke Fruia Motors. We're in Brownsville, Texas. Again, Luke Fruia Motors, one of our sponsors here on Rio Sports Live. You'll see some of our players of the game as we recognize the achievements and the guys and girls that made the plays or scored the points and was named the player of the game. Luke Fruia Motors, the sponsor that we tag on there as far as the player of the game on Rio Sports Live. Also, the live show here. Kind of some bonus stuff. We started as let's do one once in a while, and we tried to do it every week, and then we started traveling around and doing a show from Edinburgh, and then last week we were in a location doing some tournament stuff, but here we are. Again, if you had a chance to see some of the shows, Luke Fruia Motors is the place in Brownsville for Buick, for GMC, for Cadillac. Make sure you stop by here, and if nothing else, tell them thank you, because of what we do. It's because of sponsors, and Luke Fruia Motors, one of our sponsors here on Real Sports Live. Ruben has been busy getting ready for these tournaments. We got some good ones. Basketball season is, you can call it full swing. Yes, we closed the deal on football season, but Ruben, this basketball stuff just getting rolling, and there's some exciting stuff happening this week in basketball.
Yeah, guys, get this. So December 1st, 24 days till Christmas. So you get an early holiday treat. You got not one, not two, but four tournaments actually going on this week. It's our own little version of March Madness.
We're going to cover them all.
Yeah, and we already stand, but we're not late. We have the Chick-fil-A Classic, the San Perlita Classic, and Border Bash. So we already have 3 tournaments. You got a fix of 3. Now you're going to get 4 more coming your way. And then we got 1 more next week, but we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah,
but
again, going back, let's recap it. San Perlita Classic, we had some outstanding play there.
Oh, San Perlita Classic, it was just an awesome shout out to San Perlita. It was an amazing tournament, great time. You had a lot of good teams. You had a lot of great matchups. We even had a semifinal matchup, San Perlita and Bishop, 73-72. It was just, it didn't even feel like a tournament. It felt like we were knee deep, like 4 or 5 rounds deep in the state playoffs. The atmosphere was loud. I felt the table we were on shaking a bit. It was just an amazing experience, and a lot of great teams competed. Brownsville Vets and won that one over San Perlita in the final. We also had Edinburgh, Lopez competing in it. Lopez winning the bronze championship, Edinburgh winning the silver. And then we had some girls action too. Lasada captured bronze, Ranville captured silver, and Lyford captured gold. Joe, that was just an amazing tournament we had. Yeah,
it was, and it was a little old San Perlita, if you will. We're going to be in some of the bigger schools this week, but San Perlita brought in the big guns and had some good showings there. Lyford girls are a team to reckon with when you're talking about small school basketball in the Rio Grande Valley this season. and Lyford is right there amongst the mix. They captured the championship game, I thought, in relatively easy fashion, rolled over everybody, challenged a little bit by the hometown San Perlita team, but again, ran away with that in relatively easy fashion, hoisted the trophy, first place. We had other tournaments that have already taken place. We've had some good action. We've covered them here on Real Sports Live. We're well over 150 basketball games covered already, and we're in December 1st. Not bad considering we were wrapping up volleyball and football at the same time. And but if you think 100+ games covered already is one thing, how about 100 covered this week? That's what we're looking at. That's how big the coverage is, as we're, as Ruben says, in 4 different places. We're going to talk to some coaches who helped set up those brackets. But again, leading into this, Ruben, we've seen that the teams that we thought might step up to the table as the teams to beat are indeed making the statements. And none bigger than last night's coverage right here in Brownsville. Brownsville St. Joseph remains undefeated. They knock off yet another one of the top teams in the Rio Grande Valley. State-ranked San Perlita goes down, hung 100 on them, and this Brownsville St. Joseph team arguably could be the team to beat in the Rio Grande Valley. We may indeed find that out this week.
Yeah, kudos to St. Joe to knock off a state-ranked team. And not just anyone, San Perlita, the team loaded with firepower with Ortiz, Terry, Graciani, a whole bunch of names. But for them to come in, an intimidating team, some of an intimidation factor when you come in. You got a state-ranked team coming in. Okay, you're undefeated. We're undefeated. You're a state-ranked team. What do? To drop 100 on him, that's ridiculous. Jerry Martinez, who leads the scoring, who drops over 20-plus points a game. He's not alone. We have a lot of help. This St. Joe team got the Cristianos also putting up points. This St. Joe team just continues to make a statement and argue their case that they are indeed the #1 team in the Valley.
Yeah, we got McAllen out there. I haven't got to see them yet, but they're coming. We're gonna get them involved in some of our coverage. We had San Perlita. We had Santa Rosa. Oh, by the way, St. Joe beat them too. And we had Mission North, which is another team that we knew coming into this season was going to be good, and they are. You haven't got to see them yet. You're going to get to see them this week on our broadcast. And when you see them, they're going to be playing the likes of San Benito. They're going to be playing the likes of Pace, playing that St. Joe team, and who knows what happens when the bracket plays. We'll break down the Brownsville tournaments. We'll break down the Hidalgo tournament. We'll break down the tournament in La Feria. And we'll also break down the Corpus Christi tournament. We'll be back with more. We'll join some coaches, get their thoughts on just putting this Brownsville tournament together. We're at Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. We'll be back with more talk of basketball right after this. See you later, touchdown!
And Luke Fruia Motors, we're moving forward. Same great service, same great people, same great cars and trucks, and these great white letters. Our vision is crystal clear. Luke Fruia Motors, we're on the move.
We're the Lady Cougars and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
We are the Harlingen Lady Cardinals and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Here at Texas A&M University, Kingsville, we are a family. We support each other through thick and thin. We work together, grow together, excel together. We inspire each other to become the great minds of the future. We are here to ensure you succeed. Apply today to get started. This is your time.
And he throws it down. Back here on Real Sports Live, we are at Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas. Hey, you want to talk some basketball? We're talking sports. It's a basketball edition. If you want to see some basketball this week, travel no further than just a few miles anywhere around here, and you're going to get to basketball. Joining me now, Luis Gonzalez, head girls basketball coach at Brownsville. Hannah, Coach, everyone's converging in Brownsville. A lot of basketball coming up these next 3 days.
Oh, no doubt. You know, it's going to be a good weekend of basketball. We have 40 teams coming. 24 on the girls' side, 16 on the boys' side. So we're ready to host a great tournament, no doubt.
Let's talk about the tournament in itself. I know you as a coach, you were saying off the air, you said, hey, someone else put these brackets together, put these pools together. They did, and indeed, you look up and down the pools, there's some good matchups, even in pool play.
Yeah, you're right. We're hosting the tournament there at Hannah and Pace, and I told the coach from Pace, Eddie Lozano, and I said, look, I'll do everything. I just don't want to do the pool. I don't want people to say that it's a disadvantage or I made it easy or tough. So I said, you handle the pool, and he did a great job, man. If you look across the pool from A to H, there's a lot of great teams and a couple of Cinderellas and a couple of powerhouses, So, it's going to be tough.
What you like about the Cinderella teams is that they know they get to throw themselves up against the teams that they're not supposed to beat. And when you coach against a team that has nothing to lose, that thinks they can knock off someone, perhaps that's one of the toughest coaching jobs to do is like, let's get past the emotion. The talent's
Definitely.
there, but here comes a team with all this emotion. Those Cinderellas are fun to watch.
Yeah, and there's a lot here, just looking at it, San Perlita, I think they're 7-2. Coach does a great job with those girls over there. You also have Pace. Pace has one of the best players in Brownsville, in Ashley Gonzalez. She scores about 24 points a game. So Pace will be tough. Rio Hondo has a good little squad. So when I speak about Cinderella, those are the teams you have to watch out because they're going to come out ready to play.
Brownsville Jubilee in your pool. Is that a rivalry game now? When Jubilee from Brownsville takes on any of the Brownsville schools, has that developed into better watch out for this team when you play them?
Well, actually, this is going to be the first time we play them. So maybe after tomorrow, it will become a rivalry, right? No doubt. But tomorrow is going to be the first time that Hannah has played them. So we're looking forward for that. We play tomorrow at 9:30. So we don't. The beauty about tournaments is that you don't get to scout. It's not like a district opponent where you know what they're going to run. So that's when you really have to coach at halftime in the third quarter, fourth quarter, because you're not used to the different levels of plays in these different teams. So definitely we don't know what to expect tomorrow morning, but we'll be ready.
One thing I know you can expect, and that is small school from Brownsville taking on one of the big schools from Brownsville. You need to prepare for that because that team looks at you as we can make a statement by knocking off a Brownsville Hannah. So when you take on Jubilee, when you take on the Brownsville St. Joseph, those are the teams that you look at. I know you look at that and you have to prepare your girls for, let's get past not just talent. This team wants to beat you to make a statement.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I was showing the pool to the girls, and they're looking at, okay, who do we play Friday? Who do we play Saturday? Well, hold on. We got to take it game by game. You can't look past our pool. The only thing we have guaranteed is our 2 pool games. After that, we don't know who we're playing. We can end up first, second, third. We don't know. So don't look past anybody, and that's the beauty of our tournament. We're having it back. We used to have it many years ago, about 10 years ago, but for whatever reason we stopped hosting it, and now we're bringing it back. We talked to the coaches in Brownsville. We picked a date that worked out for everybody, boys and girls. So we're excited. We're ready for it.
Nikki Rowe, Porter, Rio Hondo, Port Isabel, Pace, San Perlita, St. Joe, Mac High, Mission Idea. They're coming from everywhere to rotate into this tournament. Now, 3-team pools means that you got to take it pretty serious if you want to get into that championship game of the Platinum, because there is no such thing as, we'll make it up when we get out of pool play. You have to win your pool to get to that Platinum bracket.
Exactly. There's 3 teams, and we're going to go first, second, and third. So, for example, whoever finishes first in their pool, that's the Platinum. That's the championship bracket. That's it. Whoever finishes second goes gold, and they have their own bracket. And whoever finishes third goes to the silver bracket. So, on Saturday and Friday afternoon, we'll have more balance as far as talent goes on teams. So, but I'm expecting a great weekend of basketball. And I was joking with Coach Lucio, our boys coach. On Sunday we got together. We've been meeting a lot, phone calls at each other's house. And I said, what are we doing? Why do we do this? It's a lot of work,
There's a reason why it's been away for 10 years,
exactly. I found out why, and you take it for granted because, you go to these tournaments and all you do is hop on a bus, you go play your game, and you come back. But, I've learned a lot. We're hosting these 40 teams, from officials to who's working the book, who's working the clock, food, everything. Yesterday, Coach Guest asked me, where's the buses going to park? That's a great question. You tell me. You're the boss, But there's so many things. But so I've learned a lot, no doubt about it. Hosting a tournament like this over the weekend.
And one thing about it too, in these tournaments, there is no exhale because game ends, game begins 8, 10, 12 minutes at the most. So there is no, okay, we'll figure it out after this game because after this game is the next game. And you might figure something out between days. But, Coach, once this thing gets rolling, you're in it.
Yeah, we're in it, and that's the beauty of it, And talking about, joking around with Coach Lucio, the reason we did it is for Brownsville, for Brownsville to have their own tournament. It's good. We don't have to travel up the valley or Laredo or Corpus. We can bring something here to our hometown. And you guys know we have a beautiful gym, so it's able to showcase it, throughout the tournament, So we do it for the kids, so they can have a fun weekend of basketball and not having to travel out of their town.
Let's talk about your team. Let's break it down to a personal level. As a coach, where you're at, you played a few games. You're starting to understand your team a little bit more. Where are they at compared to where you hope they'd be as they enter this tournament?
You always want to do better, without a doubt. We're 8-7 in the season right now. We've lost some tough games. We've lost 3 overtime games and a couple of games by 2 or 3 points. So, like I tell the girls, we got to learn how to win. All right, we're not there yet, but we're practicing. And to be honest with you, with so many games and tournaments, we haven't practiced a lot. Because if you look at our schedule, it's Tuesday tournament, Tuesday tournament. So we haven't had that, and I think, and which is good, we haven't peaked yet. I've had teams in the past that we start fast. We're 12-1, 12-2, but we're peaked too early. So I think with this group, and I'm looking forward because I think we're gonna peak at the right time, which is definitely come district time, which is 2 weeks away. So we want to start peaking at that right time to get ready for district.
So you get this tournament in, you get to breathe a little bit and take a look at your team and say, now we're going to work on some things
exactly
we haven't been able to work on, getting ready for what is arguably one of the tougher districts that you're going to put together. The Wesicos are there, the Harlingen are there, Los Fresnos is sitting there, you guys are there. So, your district is certainly one that you would like to make sure you have some preparation time.
I hear a lot of coaches, football coaches and basketball coaches all say, our district's tough, If you look at all the districts in the valley, everyone thinks they're the toughest district. But without a doubt, 32-6A girls basketball, it is tough. You better be ready to play. If not, you're gonna be embarrassed, because like you said, you got the Harlingen, you got the Wesicos, the Los Fresnos, the San Benito. You can't look over anybody. You got to be ready to play. So that's these tournaments, these non-district games. That's what is gonna lead us into district play. It's gonna get us ready for that district action that we need to be ready, because it's going to be tough. Those 4 teams are going to be well tested come playoff time.
In a tournament, when you're coaching, knowing you've got a couple of games, it's the only time of the year that you'll play more than one game in one day. Is the approach different when you look at your girls? Do you try to make sure, if at all possible, you get some rest during that first game for some players you're going to rely on in that second game? Or just walk me through how you prepare to coach knowing you're playing 2 games in one day in a tournament.
Yeah, and it's tough, playing 2 games. Sometimes, you look at the bracket, you can end up playing 6 games, in 3 days. So it is tough. Sometimes the best team doesn't win the tournament, It is the most conditioned team that wins the tournament because it is 6 games. It's tough on the legs, So your rotation, come district time, you might go 7, 8. Tournament play, you're looking to go 10 on your rotation to get those players rest, to get the bodies ready for the following day. So definitely, and you know what, the beauty of tournament play is that you get to experiment different things, with lineups, different plays, different defenses. That's how you know what works, doesn't work. So as a coach, I think we take advantage where we're able to experiment, different styles that we can't do in practice. So so that's the reasons why we get ready and we like playing in tournaments, because we test out those players. Are they ready? Come district time or not? So definitely our rotations a lot bigger come tournament time.
Another thing that you look at when you're in tournament is that you can get in routine when district play comes around. You know what time to get to the bus. You know what time to get on the bus. You know what time you're getting to a gym. You know what time the JV's playing. In tournaments, you may play a game. You may sit for a while. You may play another game. When the bracket play begins, you may play in the morning, sit around, have to figure out what you're going to do till 6 o'clock, and then play in the evening. So talk about that. What is so much different, and how is that a challenge?
It is a challenge, because for example, I was looking at the bracket. We play tomorrow at 9:30. After that, our next game, a.m., yes. After that, we play at 6:30 p.m. So it's a long break, but we take advantage. We might look at film, and it's good. Believe it or not, it's a good team bonding experiment. We're with them, 14 hours. So we have great talks. We learn a lot. Some basketball, some not basketball. So that's the beauty, So you have a lot of time with these with your team, and you really get to know them.
I know one thing I've always said during broadcasting is, like, in tournaments, watch the teams that stay around and watch other teams play. Watch the players who are trying to learn something about the competition. And I know you as a coach like to see that too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was looking at the bracket, and Rivera's in our district, so we're gonna see them play a couple times definitely. We play Pace and Lopez next week, so we have to take a good look at them. So you use it as a scouting opportunity as well, because you get to see them live. So that's a big advantage as well. But definitely, I'm a big basketball guy, man. I can sit in a gym from 8 to 9:30 at night and watch game after game. So for me, it's Christmas for me, man, definitely. And the beauty, it's girls and boys. So we did a good job of mixing up. We're not doing morning girls, afternoon boys. It's one game girls, one game boys. So we're really looking forward to it. So I'll be in the gym watching some good basketball.
And then ultimately on Saturday, everything converges on the platinum brackets
to Hannah. Exactly. Championship games are even that. I think they're early. For the girls, it's 2. For the boys, it's 3:30. And like you say, everything will be at Hannah. So we invite everybody out there to come out to Hannah and Pace to watch some good basketball this weekend, definitely.
Luis Gonzalez, good luck.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having us.
We'll be back with more after this. See you later, touchdown.
I love what I do. I
love
really
what
do.
I'm doing. I love children.
One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
We're the heart of the South Lady Hawks, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Awesome!
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
Back here as we're talking sports here on a Wednesday afternoon at Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas. We had Coach Luis Gonzalez talking with the girls' side of Brownsville, Hannah, one of the coordinators putting this tournament together. Now let's talk a little boys basketball. Jose Ramirez joins us from Brownsville Pace. Coach, beginning of the season, everyone was talking about, well, who is the best team? We always do that. That's media guys, all right? We're like, well, McAllen's bringing everyone back from last year's team. They're a great team. Santa Rosa made a deep run. They've got a lot of players back. San Perlita is going to be state rank out of the gate. But everyone seemed to forget that Brownsville Pace made a serious run last year, and if they didn't get their attention, I told them, they're going to get your attention early. So talk about your ball club, first of all. it's been a few games. You've got something under your belt. But talk about your players and the chemistry and everything, and because I know you came in this season. There's a circle on your back. Everyone wants to play their A game against you. Talk about your team.
Yes, our team is all seniors mostly, but they've been with me for 4 years. This is an unreal team. They came in as freshmen. 3 were on the varsity as freshmen and played. Most of them started as freshmen, and it was just a phenomenal group of kids that just are relentless. The rest joined their sophomore year, and all of a sudden you got this group of kids that they love to win, they hate to lose, but everybody talks about, and that's not my quote, somebody's quote that said, everybody's got the will to win, but not everybody has the will to prepare. That's a famous quote from somebody. Well, these kids exemplify that. They work so hard, so unbelievably hard, every single day, all summer, and that's not something that people see. What they see is the end result, But I've got a bunch of kids that, willing to they all can shoot, they all can play hard, but it's, they take pride in their defense, and I think that's what I think sets us apart.
Let's compare the preparation.
Right.
A year ago, COVID.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as basketball practice. There was no such thing as preparation. There may have not even been such thing as a season as far as you were concerned, but yet it played out. Talk about the preparation then compared to the preparation this year. Do they take we get to finally let it all hang out this year, getting ready for this season?
Absolutely. I think there's a big difference between that. But the kids were sharing videos of themselves working out. That was part of their assignments, even though we're virtual and we had an assignment. Show me your workout. Show me what you're doing. Teach us a new workout that we can have somebody else do it. And the kids took off with that because now they were not only showing their workouts, but they were teaching the others how to work out. And we have freshmen and sophomores that are watching these guys. They became more competitive about, no, my workout is harder than yours. Look at my workout. And so they were competing on that aspect of the game. And so that in itself was something that benefited us. Well, at the end of this year, when we lost what we thought was a heartbreaker to Flower Bluff, it left that bad taste in your mouth, and everybody seemed just hell-bent on redeeming themselves. And so we call this year our unfinished business year. And the kids just, from day one, from that after that last game, when you turn your stuff in, they've been getting after it. They've been working because they want to bury last year. And so I think that in itself served as motivation for us.
So, again, a lot of times coaches will look at a successful season when they have all these returners. And they'll either take the backs against the wall, something to prove, we got to show this. What lane do you guys best fit in? Is that, unfinished business? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's knowing that we could have gotten so much further, and it's just one game, one night. You got to be on, and if you're not on that night, there's no best of 5, there's no best of 7 series. You got one night to show your stuff, and we're gonna have to be ready for that each and every single night, starting now, and let's see how it plays out.
One last thing before we get into the tournament, and that is when you have so many returners. Again, a coach looks at a team as if I've got a lot of hard workers that can develop depth.
Right.
So talk about how that's, because players know 5 guys on the floor, but look down the bench. How many guys are ready to jump in and contribute? How does that help your team?
I mean, we've got guys on the bench that probably start in other programs, and it starts again from the competition. These guys get to practice on what I think is the best team in the Valley, right? They get to practice against them, so obviously it raises their level of play. So when they come onto the floor, we talked about the down 20 mentality before. I was talking to one of the gentlemen about how that came about. There's only one way to play this game, and that's if you're down 20. Well, these kids are coming off the bench. For you to get minutes, you're going to have to play with that intensity. And so they match the intensity, and it feeds itself because those kids know that we're counting on them. You're not coming off the bench because you're not any good. You're coming off the bench because you're going to extend our legs, extend our leads, and extend, our production.
And when you get in the game, you want to stay in the game, so you play even harder.
Most definitely, yeah.
All right, now, I don't know who drew up the brackets. I don't know who drew up the pools, but in your pool, Ruben's even got he's got it labeled as the group of death.
The group of
Brownsville
death, yeah.
Pace. Talk about your bracket and talk about not just that, oh, it's a tough bracket. Coach, it's an opportunity for
Right.
you to play some good basketball.
Absolutely. From day one, I mean, I did get some texts along the way, some coaches saying, who did this? You know, they kind of put you in a tough spot. And I said, you know, we want to play the tough teams early on. We want to play them now. You know, why save it? And so this guarantees us a chance to play against St. Joseph. It guarantees us a chance to play against Idea North Mission. San Benito will be improved. They always a scrappy bunch, and they always get after it. It's a no-quit mentality down in San Benito. So it's definitely a good. We'll be battle-tested just in our pool play, and you know I can't shy away from that. Our kids are drooling at the opportunity.
Talked to Coach Gonzalez about this on the approach when Brownsville schools play each other. It's always a tight contest. When a private school, Brownsville, takes on a public school, Brownsville, it adds even more intensity to this game. I know that game on Friday is going to be something to watch.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's always an opportunity for you to showcase what you've done, and it's, you know, who's Browntown's, you know, best, and that's how it is. We haven't looked that far down. Right now we're focusing on San Benito, but we know it's inevitable. We're going to get there, and you know, we're going to put our best game forward. That's what we got to do.
Talk to me about your approach. I talked to Coach Gonzalez about this. Tournaments are a different breed.
Right.
You're going to play some days at 8 o'clock in the morning. You may not play again until the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
You know in most days you're going to be playing 2 games. You won't do that in the regular season. You won't do that in the playoffs. It's the only time. So talk about the approach of tournaments from Brownsville Pace perspective.
You know, I approach it like any other game. We don't save it for the next game because then there's a letdown in this game. We take one game at a time, and our kids are in shape. Our kids have been, you know, played. I mean, La Jolla tournament, they played 6 games, and so they're in shape and they're ready to go. So we take a game, a full game. You know, we don't save them. We don't say, well, let's see, we can save them for the next game or anything like that at all. We were playing one game, and then if we get to play another one that same day, we're going to play all out that second game as well. That's just my mentality. I think that's our kids' mentality. They're so used to playing in AAU tournaments in the summer, and sometimes they play 6 games in one day and stuff like that. So our boys definitely know how to you know, recoup. They know they get off their legs and stuff, and maybe a quick shower and you know, relax a little bit, and then they gear up again for the second game. So yeah, we don't hold back. We just play one game all out as it comes.
When your team is there, are they the type of individuals that if a ball's bouncing around and someone's playing, even if they're not playing in the game, they're wanting to see what's going on?
It's 24/7. It's 24/7. I don't know. These kids are just they're tireless, and they know the scores. They know who scored this. You know, if I need a scouting report, I just go to them. You know, I don't have to watch the film. They've already know these guys. And again, a lot of them grew up playing ball together. Maybe on the same team in the summer. They just play for different schools. But most of the time, there's so much information nowadays. Video and Our Real Sports has done a great job of covering so many of the big games, and we get to see a lot of those just from our phones. And so there's always talk about, you know, who's hot and who's playing the games. Yeah.
And again, the importance of this tournament is that the mix of teams that are coming into this one is a good look up and down for you to say, hey, I'd like to play that team. I'd like to get a chance to play this team. Your kids are going to get some valued experience here.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is quite a bit of throughout the valley teams that, you know, some of them are, you know, teams that we wanted on the schedule and we couldn't get them because, you know, we have limits, and now we might have a chance to play them here at the tournament. So it's definitely a good build-up of teams here, and we're excited. We're excited to get that going. Yeah.
And final question, I'll ask the same thing of you that I asked of Coach Gonzalez, and that is just assess your team. Where you thought they would be getting ready for this tournament and where they are. Ahead of schedule, on target, where are they at?
I think, to be honest with you, I think we're a little ahead than what I thought we would be. And I say that because normally, even though you have a lot of kids from last year's team, it's the same kids, but it's a new team. And then when you add the football kids who've been out for a few months and they come in, and those guys are supposed to make you better, but they don't because the chemistry is off a little bit. But they clicked right away, and the composure. Well, there's been a couple of games where, you know, we're down 10, 11 points, and in normal, you know, I'll give you an example. We go up against Westlaco. We're up 30 at halftime. Westlaco cuts it down to 5 in the second half. And while momentum was in their favor, and you think, well, they're going to run away with it in the second half, our kids just put the foot down and extended, and all of a sudden, it's a 10-point ball game in our favor. Composure, that part, I was surprised. I think we're a little ahead than what I expected. But gauging them, we've got a lot more to improve, a lot more to grow, and I'm excited to see that happen as the season progresses.
Final question: San Benito, Idea North Mission, and then Brownsville St. Joseph in your pool.
Yes.
No doubt about it. Easy trap for any basketball player to fall into, looking ahead to the next game, because any of those games you could look ahead.
Right.
How do you reel your kids back in to make sure they're focused on one
it's
day?
a constant. That's my only job. These kids have played basketball all their lives. Skill-wise, we still go over skills and we go over schemes. But my main job is to keep these guys healthy and keep them focused. And so my everyday talk is, right now we're focused. Like I said, we're focused on San Benito. We're not thinking about Idea. We're not thinking about St. Joe. We're thinking about San Benito and scouting them and making sure that we're ready for them, one game at a time, and that's our approach. And I think that kind of helps these kids stay focused. You start rambling and you could lose sight of what could happen. Yeah.
Final question. I said that was, but I'm going to throw one more in. Coaches enter every year with the potential of it being a very challenging season, a very tough season, a learning season. I look at your season as a coach as this has got to be one of the funnest seasons to look at from a coach. So that's got to be a different look when you have all of this talent, all of this focus. Fun to coach this team.
Yes, we've had fun even when we had losing seasons because the kids make it. You see the effort. I don't ever judge kids on wins and losses. We judge them on their effort, and we want 100% because we are producing young men that go on and have lives outside of sports. But this particular group of kids is just a fun group to be around, and they're so hardworking. But off the floor, they're yes sir, no sir guys. They're the kind of kids that want to help the community, want to help each other. They welcome new kids. A freshman comes into the locker room and then start talking to them like they know they don't have any type of egos that are too big to fit in the room. And sometimes you can have that. These guys are humble kids. They're hungry kids, and they just thrive on competing with each other.
Looking forward to seeing your team, Coach. Thanks for the visit. We'll be back with more after this.
Service is attitude. How far are we willing to go to service our community, our dealership here at Fruia, and you? Sky's the limit.
We're the Ray Texans, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Josh Moody and Coach Rolly Gonzalez of Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
We envision that San Perlita ISD will help our students acquire the necessary knowledge, communication, and problem-solving skills through a variety of educational and social experiences to become productive citizens in our global society. Be a part of the change to help create a community where we guide each other to our unlimited potential.
We are Santa Rosa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Back here on Real Sports Live as we are live at Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas, one of our sponsors here on Real Sports. Buick, GMC, Cadillac, and now Tino Villarreal joins us from Brownsville, St. Joseph. We've been talking about it. The Bloodhounds, we covered them last night. They're in what Ruben tabs as the group of death. The pool that has Brownsville, St. Joseph, Brownsville Pace, Idea North Mission, San Benito all together. Coach, you talk to your kids every day. You're not the coach of these kids, but you have been the coach of some of them playing football. Some of them been your water boys. But these kids are excited to be in this pool.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the funniest part about it is I think Hannah is the one that organized this whole thing. And what's funny is that Furman Lucio is Sammy Lucio's brother. And I think the brother didn't do the brother right by putting us in that group, right? Like, I think that was a nice way for Furman to tell Sammy that he's going to put a tough road ahead for the Bloodhounds. But we're going to take it. I think that's a good opportunity right now early on to see what we've got.
And another thing, your kids are equally excited. I talked about it, that when the Jubilees get a chance to take on the Hannahs, when the Brownsville St. Joseph's get a chance to take on another school from the Brownsville, ups the ante a little bit. Your kids are equally excited to play these games.
I mean, look, it's hard for us to get quality games. I mean, it just is. St. Joe, we're a small private school, and to get a chance to play against 6As and 5As, I mean, we're just grateful that BISD's been a partner of St. Joe's for 70 years. We're always invited to participate with them, and we have a lot of respect for our Brownsville schools and every 5A and 6A that we get a chance to share a field or a court with. So it's a great opportunity for our boys.
Been a while since the Brownsville has hosted a tournament, so it's nice to have your kids not worrying about traveling 150 miles to get to a tournament. They're right here in downtown.
Absolutely. I mean, it used to be a big tournament, and then last couple of years BISD wasn't having it. So hats off to Coach Leal and all the BISD coaches for bringing it back. We're very happy to be part of it and be invited.
Can't have you on a show and not talk about football. Kevin and I have been giving hints that the realignment in February perhaps will be like none other as far as teams going to 6A, going to 5A, changing districts, changing this, changing that. You're not in UIL, but that doesn't mean you're not looking at schedules, Coach, because your off-season, your non-district games are these teams. Yeah. And so you two are very busy right now, and you're keeping your ear to the wall on what games are out there.
Yeah, I think we've already been realigned. So private schools, we get in early. I already know what my district looks like. I know how many games I'm looking for. We're just always looking for great rivalries and opportunities for us to just get better in the non-district games. So you'll see me there. I always go to the UIL realignment just to make sure that we have our 2 scrimmages down in our non-district games. And hopefully we're able to pick up some quality teams for us to make us better for our tough district opponents in Austin.
And I know what I notice at those alignments is that those coaches are keeping tabs on what table you're at, because as soon as they get that packet and open it up, they migrate to you because they've already been on the phone with you. The emails are already flowing around, that the what-if scenarios, and then suddenly they happen. So you are a busy guy because they're coming after you because they want to play your program.
Yes, and also I think at that point we've kind of always penciled each other in, and we kind of know what's going to happen. But sometime that packet opens up and the surprises, you have to change so-and-so, and you got to start figuring out who is it that we really want to keep on the schedule, and I hope that they want to keep us on the schedule for rivalry games. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the last opportunity right then and there to solidify your schedule that day and also know if you're home or away.
Football in the RGV has come to an end. The last 3 teams fell. MMA fell. But your final assessment of just football in general, from last year's COVID to this year, a final assessment of this year's football.
Everything's like the world. Things are getting back to normal. And I know that last year a lot of teams were struggling with numbers. I don't think we're at 100% yet. And I know a lot of coaches are friends of mine across the valley. There's a lot of teams still looking at climbing and getting those numbers. It's gonna take football a while, Joe, to get back to 100%, because what people don't understand is there was no sub-varsity football. So you're really taking away a year, 12 months, 14 months of a kid's development, and you can't ever get that back. They may be older by age, but they're still 14 months behind where they should be in their football knowledge, in their physical development. And so it's going to take another year, maybe year and a half, for everybody to get back to 100%. But I'm proud of the Valley. I'm proud of all the teams that made the playoffs, and some of our teams really held their ground against some of those monster teams that they're at a bigger advantage because they're already at 100% as far as capacity in their locker rooms, while our Valley teams are at 60-75%.
Right, and again, the preparation was totally different. I've talked to coaches who said, those freshmen that were supposed to get playing time last year got none, and they weren't conditioned. They didn't even know what the speed that they were going to be seeing, and all of a sudden now they're sophomores. Traditionally, we would be having them in the high-level JV roles. Suddenly, they're like first time ever putting on pads and going up against competition other than some junior high stuff. That's lost. The juniors who are now seniors. It's their last year. It's not their final development year. It's the final time. And now those juniors. So it's all pushing forward to where, next year it'll be even closer. But at the same time, you coaches had to look at those seniors and say, we're going to put it together. And you had a great run this year for your group of seniors.
Yeah, we had no choice. We had to recruit the hallways. And I know that a lot of other teams did the same thing. Sport-specific kids were being asked to put football pads back on, right? Like we had to do that with Nick Jackson. He's a big basketball, baseball guy, and we asked him to come back. And I know a lot of teams are doing that, but we're excited right now for the opportunity to just be back to some sense of, look at this, we're in tournaments, we're talking about basketball, we're moving along with other sports. Everything is slowly coming back, and you feel it. And what's been amazing is that Real Sports has been there the whole way.
Well,
right?
we're right there. Yeah, I joke all the time. People ask us, how busy are you? And I always tell them, just wait, because the real busy time is coming. As an athletic director, you can put the same hat on as I do. The busy season is about 2.5 weeks away, because, Coach, you either have your phone off, it's not here, or it's out the table, because it's probably going off 24/7. All of these sports going on. Talk about the athletic director's role as you get from football, volleyball, to all of a sudden everyone else is getting ready to play.
Yeah, it's one of the toughest moments. People don't understand sometimes what goes on in preparing just games. And when you're having to schedule boys basketball, girls basketball, powerlifting, swimming, you've got soccer. There's so much activity going on. Buses transporting kids left and right, even just the use of gyms in and of itself. And so it is the busiest moment as an athletic director. So I, as head football coach and athletic director, go from my busiest moment coaching a team into the busiest moment as an athletic director. And then my kind of opportunity to slow down is in spring, and my AD duties kind of taper down a little bit. But then it's off-season football, and it's now with realignment, it's going to throw a lot more work into that mix too.
February, March will be here before you know it. But again, yeah, these athletic directors, if you haven't put those pieces together, just try to juggle that. Boys and girls basketball, boys and girls soccer, powerlifting, swimming. Right around the corner is softball and baseball. Track athletes are trying to get out there. Sub-varsity all at the same time, and it all comes together at the same time. So these athletic directors, when they stop and enter a show like this, I stop and say thanks, because I know what's going on your phone right now.
Well, Sam Lucio would love to have been here. He couldn't make the show, but just Brownsville inviting us to the tournament and us having an opportunity. We've started off great with our boys basketball. Our girls basketball is also, we have high hopes and expectations. We've got a couple of injured athletes there. But just to be part of another tournament, and we couldn't skip the opportunity to represent our student athletes on the show.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
We'll be back with more after this.
Feeling you get when you walk onto a campus.
A sense of love, compassion, and dedication.
An environment that inspires each of our HCISD family members
to do their best and to be their best.
We ground our education on strong character, and together, we will always persist towards the future.
We are a district of choice.
A district of innovation.
And a district of excellence.
We are HCISD.
We are Edinburgh Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district focusing on quality and rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. A district dedicated to preparing our youth for the future. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower all students to reach their full potential and become leaders of the highest moral character. Sherryland ISD. Excellence is our tradition.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Uniforms, etc., you're going to find the opportunity to purchase the best high-quality scrubs. Soon after I learned about how the EDC was helping out the community. And so I did meet with Ms. Castillo. She made it very easy, very friendly, and she walked me every step of the way. I couldn't have done it without their help.
We are back here at Luke Fruia Motors. Thanks to the coaches for joining us, Luis Gonzalez, Jose Ramirez, Tino Villarreal, all chiming in with their input on the just basketball season in general, sports in general, and then ultimately the BISD tournament, which gets underway tomorrow morning. Rio Sports Live will have at least one crew there. If I had more crews, I'd put them in play. People are back to school. It's not a COVID year in which no one's doing anything, and we had a lot of opportunities to get people in place to broadcast games, to be camera operators. With this COVID, it's a little different. But again, I know that the BISD tournament is loaded for bear, boys and girls action. Normally we would have to be juggling if we were going to send one crew to cover the boys one day, the girls the next day, the way BISD does it. Boys game, girls game, boys game, girls game, all the way down to championship game on Saturday. Ruben Rodriguez has been busy getting ready for this tournament. He gets the beauty of sitting in the seat and calling games on day one in that pool that has Brownsville Pace, that has Brownsville St. Joseph, that has San Benito, that has Idea North Mission. Ruben, it's an exciting tournament. I know you're excited. I can't wait for tomorrow morning to get here. Neither can you.
Oh, Joe, okay, so BISD, you're in Brownsville. Biggest tournament by far this weekend, 40 teams. You got 12 pools, 4 for the boys, 4 pools of 4 for the guys, and then for the girls, we have 8 pools of 3. It's just going to be a shootout. We get started off at 8 a.m. We're going to have Hannah kicking things off versus Jubilee in the main gym on the boys' side. On the girls' side, we're going to have St. Joe versus, on the girls' section, we're going to have Mission Idea take on St. Joe. So the girls of North Mission take on the girls of St. Joe. And to start off the boys' action, the first one we're looking at Idea North Mission versus St. Joe in what I call the group of death. Every tournament known to man has it. The World Cup, World Baseball Classic, any tournament, you name it. You got Brownsville Pace, you got San Benito, you got St. Joe, and you got North Mission. Each team loaded with firepower. And I still want to know who had the idea to put this together, but I don't know. It's going to be chaotic, and I'm just excited for it, and I don't know.
Well, one thing that we did look at as far as, tournaments are a different breed no matter who puts them together. You have to look at, first of all, the pool play and watch how that plays out. In some tournaments, they do pool play day one, they do a reshuffled pool play in day two, and then they get to bracket play. And then it's decided whether or not you're going to get representation from the brackets coming in from just one pool, the reshuffled pool. In this case for BISD, these pools stick together for days 1 and 2 heading into bracket play, meaning that the top 2 teams out of each pool will be in the platinum bracket. And that's important because when you're talking about a pool like this with the Pace, with the Idea North Mission, with the Brownsville St. Joseph, with the San Benito, easily you could pencil in that that should be a championship game. Well, indeed, it may be that these teams exit pool play, enter bracket play, and then get a rematch later down the road. It's certainly possible, but I like the way they've done this tournament in which pool play goes to bracket play. Top 2 teams advance out. It's not backs against the wall. On the girls' side, on the other side, you don't win your pool, you don't play in the Platinum Championship game. That's a fact. So coaches have to take a different approach on how they play those games. That's why I was asking the questions to Coach Gonzalez. It's like, how do you approach that? Because if you don't win your pool, you're immediately changing the goal that we're not playing in the Platinum Bracket Championship game. Boys, different story. You can lose that first game. A very good team is going to lose that 8 o'clock game between St. Joseph and Idea North Mission and still have a chance to get to the Platinum. That makes a big difference.
So let's break down the pools. Pool A,
go ahead.
We got Brownsville Hannah, Brownsville Jubilee, Port Isabel, Brownsville Porter. Pool B, we got Brownsville Rivera, Edinburgh Economides, PSJ Southwest, Mission Veterans. Pool C, Brownsville Pace, San Benito, St. Joe, and Idea North Mission, a.k.a. the Group of Death. Pool D, Brownsville Veterans, McAllen Row, Brownsville Lopez, and Mission. So a lot of firepower in these other two. So you got the likes of Hannah, PI, Porter. PI also a very good team. We can expect a good one between them and Hannah. We also got Rivera on Economides. Ramsey Rocha has been igniting for Brownsville Rivera in this game. Economides also a good team. Mission Veterans, a great team. We got Brownsville Vets, Nicky Rowe, Mission. A lot of teams and firepower, so maybe there's more than one group of death here.
It could be. They all are good basketball teams coming into this boys basketball tournament, BISD. Port Isabel, everyone's back now from football. That team is going to only get better as the season goes on. They've got a lot of returners from last year, so watch them in that pool as far as where the Tarpons go. I know they've got Hannah out there. Hannah is that team that, you know, early season basketball, you look at who played who and who beat who. Brownsville Veterans beat San Perlita, made it look fairly easy the way they did that. Hannah turns around and beats them by 30. San Perlita turns around and beats Hannah. So, you know, how good is this Hannah team? We're going to find out. Again, Ruben, you're going to be camped out there in the Pace gyms, and should be a lot of fun, and then the girls' championship as well. But that's not the only tournament that we could go all day and talk about the BISD tournament. We've got other action. We've got the Wiseman tournament that's going on in La Feria. Girls basketball action, start to finish. That's a tradition for that tournament to take place. And, you know, we're going to have a crew out there, and then Hidalgo. And then, of course, we also have the CCISD tournament, sponsored by Myra Sports, which is one of our sponsors here on Real Sports Live. We'll be at Miller. You want to see some basketball? Even if you got to work, turn it on. Real Sports Live is going to be there. Pick one. We went from BISD. Let's talk about Hidalgo. Let's talk about La Feria. Let's talk about Corpus. You've got the brackets. You've been breaking them down. Pick one. Let's talk about the next one.
Let's stay in the valley. Let's go to Hidalgo.
Okay. Hidalgo, the Pirate Classic. It's a 3-day event. It starts tomorrow. Jacob Young's going to be over there carrying the torch on that broadcast. There will be other crews assisting as we move along. But if it's not at Brownsville and you're from the Rio Grande Valley, chances are you're Hidalgo. We've got some good competition there.
Oh, yeah. We got 4 teams coming in out of the valley. One team from across the border, Reynosa, Tamaulipas, the Potros de Reynosa, will be competing in Pool H. Will be going against the likes of Edinburgh North and La Feria. We also have Houston, Stafford, Dickinson out of Houston, Eagle Pass. Also, a lot of good teams. It's nice. We're going to see a mix and a clash of different types of basketball played. It's going to be awesome. Jacob Young, I know he's going to do a heck of a job there. But let's talk about some of these pools. What pool looks like the strongest one to you here?
Well, Los Fresnos, Ed Calchelso, Westaco Idea has got to be one of the tougher pools. Westaco Idea is one of the tougher Idea schools. Ed Calchelso, always going to be a good program. They're going to bring an A game. And then Los Fresnos, yeah, they took one on the chin last night, but they played a good team, my friends. Don't judge what the Falcons are based on what they did against Pace, or else take your team against Pace, and then we'll judge how they look on the result, because I think that's going to be a really good-looking pool. When you look at that, Hidalgo, Lyford, Houston, Stafford, Lyford is going to really be an underdog in that pool. But Hidalgo always brings electric basketball on their floor. We talked about it last night in the St. Joe team, that there is just certain gyms that it's hard to beat them. Hidalgo is one of those kind of teams. It's hard to beat the Pirates on their home floor. It's hard to beat the Pirates on their own tournament. And now they're going to be taking on Lyford, and then Houston Stafford always brings a lot of talent to this tournament, so that's going to be a good one too. So I don't know, is there a pool such as the Pace, Idea North Morrison, St. Joe, San Benito? I don't know, but there's some good stuff in Hidalgo for sure.
Also got Rio Grande City, West East, and Rural Honda. A lot of contenders in that pool too. So these guys we have 2 possible groups of deaths here in Hidalgo one. Pool G, Los Fresnos, Ed Couch, Wesco Idea. And Pool F, Rio Grande City, Wesco East, Rural Honda. A lot of great matchups kicking off tomorrow at 9 a.m. It's just a lot. Wish we could talk about this one more, but we got more tournaments coming up, Joe.
Yeah, Rudy and I will be on the road. We're heading to Corpus, so we get the advantage of watching your game at 8 o'clock in the morning, turning around and watching Jacob's game at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll tip off our first game coverage from Corpus Christi Miller, and it will be Corpus Christi Veterans taking on Milby. I don't know much about Milby this year. I know Corpus Christi Veterans. We've seen him a couple times on broadcast here on Real Sports Live. They bring a lot of talent. This CCISD tournament is going to be a good one. We've got one crew joining us, which means that we'll be in the main gym at Miller, which is where the championship game will eventually be played. We'll then slide another crew over to the B gym at Miller, and we may have a third crew that's going to take either Ray or one of the other gyms in Corpus Christi. But that tournament has some good-looking pools from some teams outside of the Rio Grande Valley, but certainly no secrets in the Coastal Bend that there's some good competition going on in that tournament as well. Miller, Leandra Rouse, Bernie, Milton, Pioneer makes a trip up there. La Jolla makes a trip up there. Santa Rosa's up there. Corpus Christi Veterans Santa Rosa's at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, which is going to be a good measuring stick for the Warriors. The Warriors, too, are throwing themselves up against any good team they can find, and this is going to be a good tournament for them to participate in. I know there are fans looking at the pools, too. You can't look at the pools and not at least go through the what-ifs. Yes, Santa Maria's up there. Santa Rosa's up there. It may not mean much to the CCISD fans that are up there, but if Santa Rosa squares off against Santa Maria, then the fans in the Rio Grande Valley are going to pay attention, Ruben, and you have to at least look at it.
Yeah, it's a possibility. You got look at the other teams. Like you guys, Santa Maria in Group A, Pool E is going to be Santa Rosa. Odds are the Roads, if they play their cards right against very quick. And again, you have tough teams in their bracket. If they play their cards right, we can see a Valley championship in Corpus Christi. You never know. And I did some slight research. Elgin comes from Austin, Texas, and we have Milby coming in from the Houston area. So we got a mix of 5 regions: the Alamo City, the Austin area, the Houston area, the Coastal Bend, and of course the Rio Grande Valley.
San Antonio Highlands, New Braunfels is in there. Corpus Christi King, Carroll, Miller. San Antonio Breckenridge is also in there. Leander Rouse, Bernie. Bernie is going to be a lights out good basketball team. They always are. They will be again. This tournament is going to be elite on the boys' side to watch basketball outside of the Rio Grande Valley, but certainly in the Coastal Bend when they throw themselves up against the teams from Houston, against the teams from, in this case, Austin and San Antonio. It's going to be a fun tournament. It all starts at 11 o'clock tomorrow, 11, 12:30, 2, 3:30, 5 o'clock, 6:30 on the main gym. And again, by the midday tomorrow, if all goes right, Joe Martinez and a crew will take off into a second gym at CCISD. And then we've got a third crew that should be in place as well. So the Myra Sports Classic up there in Corpus Christi will have a lot of action going on. That's a good tournament. But that's not the only tournaments. We've still got another one over in La Feria.
The Wiseman tournament, a staple, tradition. It's just going to be a good one. So we can't forget about it. It's the smallest of the tournaments we're having, but still a tournament. The tournaments are always jam-packed. So, Joe, breaking down, what do you expect from this tournament coming in?
Well, breaking down that tournament, again, you always take a look at, this is the chance for the La Ferias to shine. It's the chance for the smaller schools to really get their feet wet and to get into competition and preview some of the teams so that when, in some cases, district action gets underway in 2 weeks, you have a better view of who's what, who's where, who's your favorites, who's your might get there, who's your rebuilding teams. It's all going to be decided. We'll know. At the end of this week, with all this basketball we're covering, we'll know who's who.
Yeah, that's what I like about these tournaments. You got 6A teams going against 4As, and it's a mix of all the districts, so it doesn't matter, hey, we're 6A or 4 not. We're all the same heading into this tournament. We're all 0-0 in this tournament. It's pretty going to bring out the cream of the crop in a sense. You're going to see, like I said, who's who, who's where, and it's just going to test everyone's meta as we wind down the non-district, and we hit district in 2 weeks.
Well, we don't have a picket poll anymore. I think I lost that. I don't know who ended up winning that football picket pool. I think it was Kevin. So he's over there off camera raising his hand. I knew he did. I knew I had no prayer. I picked from the heart too much on those. We don't have a picket poll for basketball, but I'm going to put you on the spot, Ruben. Go back to the bracket you're covering in Pace. Pick me a winner of that pool and tell me why.
Putting me on the spot there, but okay, so I'm going to break it down. We got Pace, a team that knocked off Los Fresnos, a team head by, Los Fresnos, a team with a storied tradition in basketball. But then you're putting up against San Benito. I covered San Benito versus St. Joe on Friday. Jermaine Corbin and DeAnthony Medelis put on a show. Corbin went back to 4 consecutive threes. He was matching Jerry Martinez. Hey, you make a 3, I'm going to make a 3, and so on. It was just a show. So we can't count out San Benito, but North Michigan, this is a team who was competing in IDEA 2 years ago. They came into the UIL, their first season in district, undefeated district champions. And who's at the helm? The Bejarano twins, Mano and Raul. Both juniors. That's because they were sophomores and they won district last year. Now they're juniors. Whole year gone by. We know one of the Bejaranos was out due to injury in the summer league, but he's back and ready to go. And to see him tonight, he's going to go against St. Joe, a team that has a lot of firepower. But I'm going to go with it's hard to go because I know it's going to come back and bite me if I say it. But
there'll be fans sitting next to you while you're getting ready to broadcast. So go ahead. You're good.
I'm going to go ahead and give it out. I'm going to go ahead and give North Michigan a team. Yeah, I give them a lot of credit because I like him. Like I said, we're competing in IDEA. They put themselves in the UIL. They delivered in a big way, undefeated district championships, and they're carrying that momentum. But then again, it's not going to be easy. But I believe North Mission has a shot at taking that one. St. Joe's going to finish number 2, Pace number 3, and then San Diego number 4. That's my prediction.
St. Joe, Idea, North Mission. I'm going in, I would say on paper, Pace is the favorite to win that pool. The winner of Idea, North Mission, St. Joe has got the best chance of beating Pace. I think the momentum of that win will carry you into a chance to beat Pace. I think it's Pace's pool to win. St. Joe Idea North Mission winner, which will be decided in game 1 of that pool. The winner of that will have the best chance of knocking off Pace, just based on the fact that look who we just beat, and now we're going up against another quality team.
Yeah, Idea North Mission. They also have a double whammy. At 8 a.m., they're going to open up action against St. Joe, but then they're going to go to at 2 o'clock, they're playing against Brownsville Pace. So you got 2 of the power teams. I'll be calling both games, so I don't know. I'm probably going to go crazy. I'm probably not going to get any sleep tonight on how this tournament is. I still want to get some more notes in before the broadcast tomorrow because, again, it's tournament, guys, and honestly, it's like our own little version of March Madness. I love it. It's just an amazing experience, and then be able to do it here with RSL, it's awesome. And we got Hidalgo. So you guys, if you don't want to go to Brownsville, hey, we got Hidalgo. We got the Wiseman and Feria. We got the Corpus tournament. So there's 4 tournaments, over 100 games, maybe over even 150 games to choose from. No matter what game, you're going to get your basketball fix, guys.
If we get crews in place, we'll have a minimum of 24 games a day already on day 1. We know that. 24 games tomorrow. 24 times 3, it gets you in the upper 70s, and we're going to have more crews than that. Again, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I just can't wait to see it all play out. We've got tournaments still coming up later on to get us into the holiday, but what a way to really get into basketball season and what we're seeing here. We'll take a final break, and when we come back, we'll wrap it up here. We're in Luke Fruia Motors. We're in Brownsville, Texas. Buick, GMC, Cadillac. They're one of our sponsors here. What we do is free to schools. We don't charge fans to watch this stuff. We rely 100% on the sponsors, and so the Luke Fruia Motors are the sponsors that do step up and make it possible for us to broadcast the games. At the very least, you got to stop by and tell them thank you. At the same time, they got some great deals on some cars. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. Talking sports on a Wednesday on Real Sports Live.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on Jackson at First and Jackson in Harlingen.
I love what I do. I really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children.
One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
This game is brought to you in part by the Concession Stand in Santa Rosa, a locally owned business providing a terrific atmosphere before or after the games and supporting athletes of all ages. When you're in Santa Rosa, be sure to stop by the Concession Stand and choose from the wide assortment of goodies. An advertising partner with Rio Sports Live is the Concession Stand. Back here in Real Sports Live, we're at Luke Fruia Motors as we wrap things up. I want to wish everyone a belated happy Thanksgiving, and we hope you had a great time eating some turkey, watching some football, whatever you may have done, gathering with the family, and more importantly, just being thankful for everything that we have out there and in front of us. And we're thankful for all of our fans who are tuning into our games as we get ready for this basketball tournaments. I know we could talk all day, but Ruben, eventually we got to get back in that preparation mode. But I'm not going to have much sleep. I know you're going to have much sleep. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, Joe. Less than 24 hours away from tip-off all across the coastal bend and the Rio Grande Valley. Big tournaments coming your way. It's like our own little version of March Madness, a little version of a post-feast week, if you will. And I don't know, it's just going to be exciting. I'm going to go. It's going to be insane right when we have that tip-off for St. Joe and North Mission. That's a blockbuster. We have 2 blockbusters. We also have Mission Veterans, Idea North Mission and Pace. We also have some good ones between Mission Vets and Rivera, Portisville and Porter. Some good matchups here. Pace and San Benito, that's also going to be a great one to watch, guys. But, guys, not just Brownsville ISD. We got the Corpus Christi tournament, the Hidalgo tournament, the Wiseman, Los Fresno, guys. You're going to get your complete basketball fix. And if you're a basketball fan like we are, it's going to be heaven on earth for you.
A lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed our broadcast. Again, we're live at Luke Fruia Motors, Buick, GMC, Cadillac. Stop by in Brownsville and take a look at the good deals. Till next time, for Real